Well, Anna, how does one become a TV expert on sex and relationships? I mean, what were you doing in your life when the light bulb went on over your head or someone else's that indicated you should talk about this stuff to thousands of strangers?
Well, the way it actually happened is, I've always been a writer since I, was about 8 years old. And when I was working in magazines, this girl named Amy Sohn, who was a great writer, who did a column for New York Magazine on sex, cold called me and said, hey, do you want to do a story where we switch dating lives for a week and write about it? We did that story. We sold it to Playboy magazine. They shot us, not naked, but very, scantily clad. And that story was made into a reality show pilot, and it was this really big deal. And from there, it was just like, oh, my God, you write for Playboy. You must know about sex and relationships. And I was like, okay. And that was really it. It is really something that I stumbled into, and it was only once I was already doing it, employed, sort of giving this advice, that I sought out, I became interested in it. I realized I was perfectly fine. It didn't make me uncomfortable to write about sex or to talk about sex, which differentiated me from like 95% of people out there. And then I went, once I was already working for G4, I went and got accredited. I got an associate certificate in sex education. I'm a member of the American Association for the Counselors, Sexuality Educators, Counselors, and Therapists. But I am actually not working on Attack of the Show anymore. They are still airing segments that I'm doing. But, yeah, I'm doing it for some more mainstream shows. I'm going to be on the CBS morning show this Saturday with Ian Kerner. And, as you mentioned, I've been going on Fox. I've been doing a sort of less cable, more network.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny how our lives change as we, mature. That is a job that I always thought I'd be very comfortable doing, talking about sex and relationships. And then I had a kid, and then suddenly I realized I could never talk about that stuff until she was 18 and out of the house. I mean, it's funny how things change situationally. So I thought that was interesting. Are you able to discuss this stuff, with mom, for example, or family members?
If it's on TV, it's not too graphic. You know what I'm saying? So anything that I've ever said on television or written in a magazine, I'm perfectly comfortable saying to my mom. Not my dad. We don't talk about stuff like that. My mom has taken some warming up. She, at one point I did a story for Playboy on vibrators, and she lives in San Francisco, and the big vibrator museum, because there is such a thing, is in San Francisco, and I took her with me to it, and she just thought it was kind of silly. But, I think that, she raised me to not be repressed. And I think what makes me sad is there's so much, especially among adolescents, because that was the audience that was watching Attack of the Show, there's so much confusion and shame and guilt when it comes to sexuality because it is such a repressed society we live in. And I think that's sad that people don't feel comfortable talking about it because that makes everybody... I've gotten hundreds and hundreds of emails from people who think that there's something wrong with them because they're just, they can't talk about what's going on with them sexually because they feel ashamed.
Anna, I've met some of those people, and I have to tell you that I think there is something wrong with some of them. So just, sorry. Now... so how do you do research for something like this? I mean, I'm guessing, there's always a line of guys and probably more than a few women ready to assist you at any opportunity.
Yeah, well, the stories I'm doing, I write for Maxim and Details a lot, and for those stories, a lot of times I go to my Twitter followers. There are a bunch of people with I've got 11,000 followers. They have some experience. No matter how crazy the topic, I always find people on there that will talk to me. I mean, because a lot of the stories that I do are basically, I talk to experts, but I also, it's mostly the bulk of the story will be, finding people who have experience with whatever the topic is.
Mm-hmm. I know what you're talking about on Twitter. I stumbled on Pound, and people don't follow Twitter, but they use the pound sign to follow a topic. It's Pound what is it? Love Sex Tips. And there is some crazy stuff there. I can't repeat it here. My friends at CBS would just have a fit if I repeated some of that stuff. But yeah, there's some pretty informative and bizarre things you can learn on the internet. There's a surprise, right?
I've never been to Love Sex Tips on Twitter. I don't know if I could stomach that. But.
No, it's interesting. Well, we're almost out of time, and I got to say, folks, you can order Anna David's new book, Reality Matters, 18 Writers Come Clean About the Shows We Can't Stop Watching, as well as her other books, Bought and Party Girl, at great bookstores everywhere or on MrMedia.com. And you can learn more about her fiction and TV work at her personal website, AnnaDavid.com. And, of course, she's very popular on Twitter and Facebook. Anna, always a pleasure to talk to you. Congratulations on the new book. And thank you so much for joining us on Mr. Media today.
Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. You take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And, folks, for more interviews with your favorite reality TV stars, got plenty of those, surf over to our main website, www.mrmedia.com. And please take advantage of this great offer for Mr. Media radio listeners. Go to audiblepodcast.com/mrmedia to get a free audiobook download of your choice when you sign up today. Again, that's audiblepodcast.com/mrmedia for your free audiobook. Subscribe to Mr. Media on iTunes and you'll never miss a show. Just search Mr. Media Interviews from within iTunes and subscribe for free. You can also listen with a piece of string and a tin can in many locations. Thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate you sharing a piece of your day with Mr. Media. Thanks for listening, everybody. See you soon.
Chat About It, the new interactive internet radio station of the future. Chataboutit.com. This is Chat About It, the future of internet radio. Don't just listen to internet radio shows on business, sports, or politics. Chat About It.
Hey parents, it's hard to pick up your kids nowadays without embarrassing them.
Hi, honey.
Not in front of my friends.